Hi, we're back at the LTV studio. It's March 16th. I'm here with Natalie and Matt from LTV. Thanks so much for helping us, Matt. So just to give everybody a brief introduction, we've already met with everyone last week. And Natalie, do you want to give a little introduction on yourself so people that haven't seen the last podcast know who we are?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much, Bernadette, and thank you very much, Matt, for having me here today again. Yes, so I'm from Ukraine originally, and I have been here in this country for 20 years. And with the war starting in Ukraine and my family being in Ukraine, I decided to do whatever I can to raise awareness in our community and to see maybe we can spread a little bit of kindness to Ukraine, of support, and maybe we can help with some clothing and food or anything we can help them with at this difficult time.
Yes, even though I'm personally not from the Ukraine, my name is Bernadette. I actually grew up in East Germany. And so for me, this is also more of a personal involvement to raise awareness. The war has now been going on for the past 3 weeks. Things seem to fester more and more. So one of the reasons why we started this podcast is we don't want to lose sight. And we also have direct connections, especially Natalie has direct connections into the Ukraine. And Matt also he has been traveling around Eastern Europe. So we all have a really emotional connection to this topic. So Natalie, give us a quick introduction on what you guys did a few weeks back. I think, Matt, you went there and to the windmill in East Hampton, correct? Do you want to talk about this briefly?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm Matt here over at LTV. I went over to the Stand With Ukraine event that we will show right here. Went to the Hook Mill hosted by the East Hampton Village Mayor Jerry Larson, and I went there to film, and I was shocked to see how many Eastern European people live in the area. Many locals like myself really wouldn't know that unless you personally knew them. And to see the support from not only Europeans living here, but locals who have nothing to do with Ukraine was awesome. It really was a great event to see everyone come together and care about something happening all the way across the world was awesome. And then that's how I saw you there. I don't think I met you there, but I saw you there, and
with my sign, right?
Yep, with your sign.
Yes.
And then of course we also have, this photo. You were in 4 articles with East Hampton Star, the East Hampton Press, and
got a little bit of publicity last week. Yes.
Yep, and you were doing publicity for your cousin back at home that you wanted to talk about today.
Oh, yes. I have a little bit of good news. My cousin, who is a single mom, she was based in Khmelnytsky region in Ukraine. And when the war started, she decided to flee the country to save herself and her child. And she happened not to have any cash with her, and there was a huge run on banks. So she had to make this decision whether to jump in the car that her kind friend was offering for her and her daughter, or to go to the bank and get cash. So she didn't pack anything because the car was full of people. There were 7 people in that car, and the car was actually small. It was a 5-seater, 7 people, a newborn, and a cat.
Wow.
And these people were trying to escape, and they spent 48 hours on the Polish border. I cannot even imagine how difficult that was. Yes, Bernadette.
Yeah, actually, we have some footage that I received from a friend who drove all the way from Germany. I believe it was a trip that was 1,000 miles both ways. I mean, it's a round trip, where he actually dropped off donations directly at the Polish border, and he took back 33 women and children. It was a group of hotels that had organized that. So just to give people an impression, Matt is going to show some images right here of how also positively Ukrainian refugees were welcomed at the border. So this is basically what your cousin must have seen when she arrived there.
Yes, absolutely. And the huge thank yous to all countries that have been so kind, accepting families into their homes. And believe it or not, I was trying to help my cousin who was stuck at the Polish border without money, without luggage, without anything, just with her daughter, going nowhere, basically to save their lives. I was very lucky to get in contact with my old friend I didn't see for 10 years. She's originally from Poland, and then my friend Agnes, she was able to contact her family in Poland, and she just by a lucky chance her family is living right at that cross border point, and they were able to meet my cousin and her daughter and take her to their house. They're such kind people, and I will be always grateful to them for that.
Just as a follow-up question to that, tell me what was it like finding out for you when you found out that they had a place to stay and that they were safe finally? What was that like?
Oh, a huge relief, because for the whole 48 hours that my cousin was stuck on the border, not moving, with 7 people in the 5-seat car with no money. And I felt so helpless. I cannot even tell you, because there was no way I could send her money. I could help her. And I cannot even tell you how grateful I am to all people that are helping Ukrainian families in need right now, because these people really need our help.
And I have to say, I can't stress enough how important it is that Poland kept the border open, because Germany does not have a border directly with the Ukraine. So for them to not shut the border down is a lifeline, because of course towards the east there's no escaping, to the north there's Belarus, and it's been an absolute lifesaver for
Yes,
people
for many people, yeah.
going to Western countries. And the support has been very overwhelming, which makes me feel amazing that this is actually happening. So where is your cousin now, Natalie? Where did she end up going after her 48-hour ordeal?
Yes, so she spent a few days in Poland, and she continued to Italy, where she is seeking asylum protection there, and she has been greeted with flowers and chocolates, and she said that they gave her like a little studio where she and her daughter could rest, and she said we just walked in and we just started crying. The kindness of people has been overwhelming in this difficult time.
But of course, your cousin still has probably numerous friends and family that are left behind in the Ukraine,
yes,
correct?
Yes, her friend and myself, my dad, who is 70 years old, he will be 70 years old in a few weeks, actually, will be celebrating his birthday in a bomb shelter. It has been really difficult for the last 3 weeks. He has been living in really harsh conditions with his wife and all elderly family members who are in their 90s in a cold shelters. And those shelters, they're not heated. There is no running water, no bathrooms. It's really hard. And it has been very hard for me to get in touch with him also, because the phones are running out of batteries. There is no Wi-Fi in the basement, so he has to go up into his apartment. But every time I get in touch with him, which is every 3rd or 4th day, he would say, Natalie, I have to run back, and I hear sirens. So there is another air raid. And to tell a little bit more information about it, because lots of people are asking, are there Russians in Western Ukraine? Why are there air raids? So Russians are shooting missiles from the Black Sea and from Belarus all over the country. So although there are no Russian soldiers, particularly in that region where I'm from, Khmelnytsky, their air raids have been going on for the last 3 weeks, every few hours. So people live in really difficult conditions without any sleep.
I have to say, for me, this is absolutely heartbreaking to hear something like this happening in the heart of Europe, which Ukraine, you can say, is nestled in. Because for me, I only know these stories from my grandmother, who was 10 years old when the war was over, who lived through the Dresden bombing. And that was her life, like no food. There was no safety. And every night they had to spend in these bomb shelters. I mean, granted, at least nowadays you have more means of communication. So back
Yes.
back 80 years ago, you would have not even been able to be in touch with your family. But like for me to listen to this, I'm like, am I in the wrong movie? I think I need to change theater. It's absolutely
Channel, right? Yes. Yes, it is. It is difficult for my friends over in Ukraine also because not everybody can flee the country, like my cousin did. Her parents are not alive, and she is a single mom, so she was able to leave the country. But many of my friends, they have their husbands and sons who are between ages 18 and 60s, and they're staying to fight for their freedom, and they're not able to leave their family behind.
yes, because they don't want to leave their husbands and brothers and
Yes.
sons behind, correct?
Yes.
How from what you've been hearing from over there, how is their spirit? I mean, are they still motivated to keep on fighting?
Yes, every time I talk to somebody, all my male friends from college, from school that I'm in touch with, everybody is feeling strong and they will not give up.
And that's what we cannot do over here either. So we're gonna be back in a few days to talk more about efforts that we've been doing locally. So even though time passes by between our podcasts, that doesn't mean there's nothing going on. But today we really wanted to focus on those stories because for us it is important to make that real for people that live here, for that don't have a direct contact there into the Ukraine or into Europe. So thanks so much, Natalie, and thanks so much, Matt.
Thank you so much for having.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
And we'll be back shortly also to kind of like report where we're at in terms of our fundraising efforts. It's been the support has been very overwhelming, and how people can continue to support us. But one mean that you can do today is to share our podcast to keep raising awareness. Thank you so much, Natalie.
Thank you all. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.